Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the podcast. Today's guest is Dr. Angelo Valenti, a consulting psychologist, leadership coach, and founder of the company Psychologist in Nashville, Tennessee. With over 40 years of experience helping companies hire, develop, and coach leaders and individuals to navigate life's personal and professional challenges of life. Angelo has seen what truly makes people succeed and what quietly holds them back. He's also the author of You're Making This Way Too Hard. Find your easy way to enjoy life. Yeah, yeah. A roadmap to joy, confidence, and self-acceptance. Dr. Valenti, it's a pleasure to have you on the show.
The pleasure's mine, Blessed. Thank you for having me.
Okay, so Dr. Valenti, before we kick things off, can you please tell us more about yourself?
Oh, sure. I went to grew up in Cleveland, Ohio, went to Case Western Reserve University, got an undergraduate degree there, got my master's and PhD from the University of Georgia. Taught college at Oklahoma City University, taught psychology, and joined a consulting firm in 1980 and started my own business in 1982.
Wow, I had 1980. Dr. Valenti, you've been around for a while. I was
I
born
have.
I was born 1999, so I can imagine I'm quite very much young, so I'm definitely going to learn a lot from you today. So my first question for you is, after 40 years, 40 plus years working with leaders and individuals, what separates those who thrive from those who constantly struggle?
Well, that's a really good question. And the answer, I believe strongly, is that successful people will do the unpleasant but necessary things that unsuccessful people won't do. In
Oh
other
wow.
words, that might be staying up late to work. That might be cold calling customers. That might be trying, striving constantly to try to make their business better. And a lot of those things aren't fun, but they're necessary. And the unsuccessful people, when it gets difficult, they just quit. They quit trying. And a kind of a subcategory of doing the unpleasant but necessary things is successful people are persistent. They don't quit. They
Oh
just
wow.
keep working. Um, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for that. That's just straight to the point, actually. Persistency. Whether they are winning or they are losing, they continue to execute. They don't let emotions cloud their judgment. They just keep pushing and pushing, and the success compounds, and eventually everybody starts to see the success that they are. Thank you so much for that, Dr. Valenti. So you say many people are making this way too hard. Why do we complicate our own lives? Why do you think people tend to do that, essentially?
Well, I think there's a lot of reasons. One reason is people, especially today more so than in the past, uh, are in a comparison game. They compare themselves to other people. They compare themselves to what other people's lives are like. And there's an old saying that comparison is the thief of joy, and it really is true. If you're comparing yourself to other people, you have no idea what's going on behind the scenes in those people's lives. And especially with social media, you're comparing what other people want you to see on social media with your real life. And it's not their real life. It's scripted, it's curated, it's edited. So there's no way that your life can compare to somebody else's little mini movie that they put on social media. Um,
Yes.
and I,
Yeah.
I even, I talked to a videographer a few months ago, and he told me that he does a lot of shooting for influencers, and a lot of
Yes.
times they'll rent a Lamborghini for a day, or they'll rent a yacht for a day, or they'll rent an
Imagine.
apartment for a day, and they'll shoot a bunch of video, and then they go back to living in their parents' basement or wherever. Uh, so, so you're not seeing their real life, and you even if you are seeing a person's real life, you might be seeing their chapter 20 when you're on chapter 2. So it's
Exactly.
really, yeah, so that's a big factor. The other factor is people listen to other what other people think they should be doing. And everybody's got great advice about what somebody else should be doing. They don't do a great job of following their own advice usually. But
Yeah.
everybody will tell you what you ought to be doing. And if you get yourself caught into a trap of doing what you think you should be doing, uh, I call that psychological diarrhea. That's where you should all over
Ooh.
yourself.
Dr. Valenti, you're a very fun guest. I actually love that nomenclature. Psychological diarrhea. Honestly, I can agree with that for a fact. You would actually cheat on yourself a lot, and
Yeah.
it's going to be crazy. And still on the talk of comparison, the reason why I agree with what you said, people comparing their lives and their selves with other people. I told my friend something one time we are having a conversation, and I told him that you're comparing yourself with this guy. You do not know the kind of support systems he has. You don't know if he has a rich uncle or he's probably the heir to some kind of, generational wealth or something. It's the reason why he can, take some kind of risks and he will still be okay because he has backup. He has very good support systems. The only person that is taking care of you is just maybe your parents or even a guardian, and you're trying to do some crazy things that could actually ruin you. Please, if it's because of this person you're trying to, do this and you want to take a certain kind of risk, you know that if it doesn't pan out, it will actually destroy you. And you need to take a step back, rethink your situation, and find another strategy or another kind of investment. And luckily, fortunately, my friend he listened to me and he was able to avoid that financial ruin. And what I'm essentially trying to say is that habit of comparison in of itself is a very dangerous one.
Yes, it is. And for all you know, that person could be hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt. A lot of
That
people live a
is that.
live a lifestyle that's way beyond their means, and eventually that catches up with you. And it's because those people are trying to keep up with the Joneses. They're trying to compete with what they see in other people's lives.
Yes.
And my grandmother said something to me when I was a little kid that stuck with me forever. And he said, "You never know what's going on behind closed doors." And what you see is not what people's life is really like. They could
Yes.
be having their own struggles, and maybe they're just doing a better job of
As hiding it.
putting on a good front when they're
Yeah.
out in public. But you really don't know what's going on with them.
Thank you so much, Dr. Valenti. That's actually there's a lot of wisdom there. I hope all of you listening are taking notes because Dr. Valenti has a lot of wisdom to share to us. So, Dr. Valenti, on to my next question. There is a rise in anxiety, dissatisfaction and self-doubt, especially in today's modern society. What do you think is fueling this psychologically?
Well, everybody to some extent suffers from self-doubt. But I think one of the things that people do that compounds that self-doubt is they have a tendency to run themselves down. They always talk about what they can't do, what they don't have, what they're not able to do, what they lack. And I encourage people to focus on what they have, not what they lack. Everybody has certain skills, talents, personality characteristics that are good. They're positive characteristics. And the reason they have friends, the reason they have a job, the reason they have good relationships is because there's something good about that person. So I
Yes,
think if you spend time running yourself down, then it's going to be hard for you to feel good about yourself because you're the person that knows yourself the best, supposedly. And,
yes,
uh, so I really encourage people to say positive things about themselves to themselves. Compliment yourself. When you do something good, compliment yourself. When you feel that you have a good quality, compliment yourself. It doesn't take any more effort to compliment yourself than it does to criticize yourself. And it's okay to want to improve, but it's not okay to constantly run yourself down. There's plenty of people out there that are going to run you down. where you don't have to you don't have to do it yourself, right?
Yes. I
So,
love that. I love that, Dr. Valenti. Sorry, you were still saying something. Sorry for cutting
oh
you off.
no, go ahead. That's okay.
You said there are already people that is going to do that job for you. You don't have to do it yourself. There are people that are going to run you down. There's only for you to do it yourself. Just leave it to those people instead. And I love that
Yeah.
so much. And whilst I was doing my research towards our interview, I saw where you mentioned, finding your easy way. I hope I'm not making a mistake with that.
Well, life has ups and downs. It's never going to be easy all the time, but
Yes.
there's things you can do to make it easier. And one of the things that I stress when I'm coaching people is you need to take care of yourself as well as possible. Because your body is the vessel that's carrying you on this journey through life. And some
Yes.
people have health issues, and I understand that. And but look at Stephen Hawking. He had ALS, and he was confined to a wheelchair. Right, could barely move, and he managed to do great things because he didn't
Yeah.
let that disability define
Holding
him.
back.
It
Yeah.
didn't let it. Yeah, right. So take care of your body. Everybody can eat a little bit better. Everybody can exercise a little bit more. Everybody can do simple things, get enough sleep. A lot of people don't get enough sleep. I'm a big believer in naps. I love naps. I take a nap every afternoon.
Yeah. Yeah. Very
Uh,
important. Yes.
yeah, sleep is really important. It's how our body and our mind regenerate. So physically take a little better care of yourself and learn to love yourself. Self-love is not being selfish. It's recognizing that you have value and you have worth. And if you don't love yourself, why would you expect anybody else to love you?
So, yes. Okay, so Dr. Valenti, like I said, I think it's a phrase in America, I've been around the block. So essentially you've been around the block for a while, so you've seen a
A
thing or
few
two.
times, I've taken a few laps around the block. Yeah.
Yeah. So you've personally navigated divorce, loss, and business ups and downs. How do hardship and perspective reshape confidence?
Well, I've always been a person who looks forward. I don't look back. I don't dwell on mistakes. And I've made mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. I've made plenty of them. I don't dwell on the losses. I don't dwell on the mistakes that I've made. Um, I'm always focused on what's forward, what's ahead. And there are a lot of great things ahead if you're looking for them. And I preach gratitude. I think expressing gratitude is very important. Be grateful for the little things in your life. If you wake up every morning and write down three things that you're grateful for, it'll build a habit in you. You can actually reprogram your mind to start looking for the good things in life. It doesn't have to be anything big. Maybe you saw a beautiful sunrise. Maybe you petted a puppy. Maybe somebody complimented you about something. I mean, it could be a little thing, but if you start looking, develop that attitude of gratitude where you're looking for things to feel grateful for, it'll help you to have a more positive outlook. And even if things are not going the way you want them to go, if you approach those problems with a positive outlook, you're more likely to get a positive outcome. Otherwise, you
Yes.
end up in a downward spiral where you start to catastrophize where the world's coming to an end or my world's coming to an end. So
Yeah.
so I have losing my wife uh,
So
to
sorry, Doctor.
ALS, yeah, was very, very difficult. And I learned a lot about myself uh, during that time. But I kept moving forward. There was nothing I could do about it. Literally nothing I could do. I did everything I could do, and that was it. It was just her time was up. But I kept moving forward. So what's the rest of my life going to look like? And within a year, I met my wife, Rachel, and
Wow.
we've been together ever since. Um, and I'm blessed. She's a blessing in my life. Um, and so I could have wallowed in that. I could have said, "Oh, poor me." I'm never going to find love again. But I didn't approach it that way. I felt, I went through the grief process. Everybody does.
Yes.
But, I realized, I've got the rest of my life to live. And what do I want that to look like? So, I think if you keep moving forward and keep thinking positive, even when bad things do happen, but how you approach that has a big effect on what kind of outcomes you're going to get.
Yes. It's just this thing you just said reminds me of the conversation I was having with the previous guest before you, of which I apologize once again.
That's
So
okay. That's okay. Don't worry about it.
okay. So she mentioned how people always react to whatever is happening around them. And I responded by saying, you can't necessarily control what happens in life. You cannot control external factors. What you can
Nope.
control is all in here.
Yep.
It's all in your head. You can control how you react, but you cannot control what
Yes.
happens to you. So even if you want to blame external factors, you want to blame the government, you want to blame the economy, you want to blame someone, maybe your parents and whatnot, you need to understand at the end of the day, however you react to whatever they are throwing at you is going to be your responsibility. So you can either continue playing the victim or you can look for the opportunity in whatever you may be experiencing. And that's why I agree with what you said, 100%.
Well, absolutely. And what you are today as a person is the sum total of all of the decisions that you've made in your life,
Wow.
right?
Wow. That's some wisdom. Yeah.
And if you want to have a better life, make better decisions.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people, if you want to move to a different phase in your life, you might have to leave some people behind. Not everybody is a lifetime relationship. Some people are just a way stop in your journey. Some people are just an example of what not to do. So you can learn from them by learning about the mistakes that they made.
Yes.
Um, and so if you realize that the decisions that you have made have gotten you to the point where you are, and you're not happy with the point that you are, then you realize that you have the ability to change the direction of your life by making different, better decisions. I mentioned the people that you might have to leave behind. For example, if you have a drinking problem, you're an alcoholic or you have a serious drinking problem. If you decide you're going to quit drinking, you're going to have to get rid of your drinking buddies, the
Yes,
people that you go
100%.
out drinking with,
Yeah.
because they haven't decided to quit drinking, and they're going to put you in a position where they're going to encourage you to keep drinking, or they're going to, and the environment is going to be one that revolves around drinking. So you're going to have to change your relationships, change the people that are influencing your life.
Oh, wow. Thank you so much for that wisdom, Dr. Valenti. Very important. So, Dr. Valenti, I wanted to ask you this. Many high achievers tend to tie their identity to their performance. How can someone detach self-worth from achievement?
Well, that's a tough one because most of the successful people I know are very achievement oriented, but they measure themselves by their progress, not by the achievement.
Oh,
They're
wow.
always striving for something. And it's usually something meaningful, and it's usually something that has a positive influence on other people. I work with a lot of business leaders and business owners, and those people take the responsibility of being a business leader and a business owner. They take it very seriously. They realize that their behavior, the decisions they make, might be influencing 5 or 10,000 people if it's a big company. So,
Yes,
and they don't
yes.
they don't take that lightly, but they're always looking at the process, not the out, because there's never a final outcome till you're dead, right? So,
Yes,
so,
yes.
um, so they just focus on trying to make the processes better for everybody involved, trying to make good decisions that are going to have a positive impact on themselves, their family, their employees, if it's a public company, their shareholders. So um, I think it's important if you just keep making a little bit of progress every day and don't worry about what the
The
final
result.
outcomes is. Yeah.
Oh wow. Dr. Valenti, that is some platinum level wisdom. Focus on the process, not the end goal or the achievement or the result. And when you focus on the process, you're actually being present in the moment, which allows you to actually, perform even better, as opposed to when you're just focusing on the goal itself. And I really love that. So I'm actually taking that to heart. I already, inscribed it in my mind, and I'm going to start practicing that. Thank you so much for that wisdom. So Dr.
Good.
Valenti, I have okay, before that, if someone is feeling stuck or in worry or they tend to always overthink, what is one practical tool, they can apply immediately to maybe give them a kind of an escape from, overthinking and always being worryful or worrisome, I think.
I think sometimes it takes a bit of self-reflection. You have to look back and try to remember what you were worried about a year ago. If you can't remember what you were worried about a year ago, chances are what you're worried about now isn't going to be a problem a year from now. So
Oh, wow.
there's no reason to worry about it. Most of the things you worry about don't happen. And even if the things you worry about do happen, how's worrying going to make it better?
Exactly.
So I'd rather than worry about it, do something, take action.
Oh,
I
wow.
think if you keep moving, take action. So, okay, I'm in a bad situation. What are some things I can do to get myself out of this bad situation instead of sitting there and worry about it? Take action. If you keep moving, you don't have time to think about or dwell or mull or do about what's going on.
Honestly, Dr. Valenti, anyone that has access to you, they don't know what they have. They don't know they have gold. Everything you say is just platinum level wisdom. And thank you so much for that. Actually, come to think of it, most of the things that I was worried about a year or 2 years ago, that I was so worried that I would literally be having panic attacks. And come to think of it, I can't even remember most of them happening. It's mind-boggling, and that's just the truth. I need to understand that by this time next year, a few months from now, even a few days from now, I would have forgotten about whatever I was panicking about, which is actually just life in a sense. So, Dr. Valente, I have a set of rapid fire questions I want to ask you. You can either answer with a phrase or a sentence. So, the first one is, what is your definition of success?
Success is waking up every morning with a smile on your face and ready to face the day.
Oh wow, that's so wonderful. Like I said, platinum. The next one is is your definition of worry?
Worry is obsessing over stuff you have no control over.
Oh wow. Oh my God. That's just it. That's literally another definition of, because most times when people worry, they are worrying about something they cannot control, which is just the truth of the matter. So my next one is confidence grows when.
Confidence grows when you're making progress towards something and realize that you're capable of doing it.
Oh yes, 100%. Most leaders tend to misunderstand.
Most people, okay, most people misunderstand that the rest of the world really doesn't care about you one way or the other. They're worried about themselves.
Facts. That's just like so sorry, I have to cut a bit. I want to say something. Um, the previous guest I was having, there was something I told her, something I've come to learn on my own. I haven't actually confirmed this, but this is just something I've observed. I've observed that human beings are inherently narcissistic. Now, it's
Yes.
in of itself, it's not a bad thing per se, but you need to understand, and this narcissism, according to this is my just my own personal opinion. I think it comes in two ways. It comes in the way of, somebody always playing the victim, and the other way is, somebody always out to exploit another person. So
Well, they're trying to control somebody else.
yeah,
Basically that's what narcissists do. They try to
yeah,
control other people.
yeah. So
And
so
you know,
okay.
I told my kids from a very early age, I said, don't complain because half the people don't care and the other half wish it was worse.
Oh wow. I'm going to write that on my wall on my wall. Dr. Valenti, honestly, you've been a wonderful guest so far. And that's
Thank
just that is a platinum level. Like I said, I don't think I can't think of anything more precious than platinum. I don't know. Titanium maybe. That's some platinum level wisdom. That's just don't complain. Most people don't care, and the rest are
you.
wishing it
Wish it
was even
was
worse.
worse.
Oh wow, wow, that's crazy. So my last question is what do you think joy requires?
Joy doesn't require anything. Joy just requires you to have an open heart and let that joy come in.
Wow.
An open mind and an open heart. Joy is different for everybody. But,
Wow.
the things that give you joy might not give me joy. But if you
Yes.
find joy is that feeling that I just mentioned when you wake up in the morning with a smile on your face and ready to face whatever the day has to, that's not only success, that's joy.
Wow. Thank you so much for that wisdom, Dr. Valenti. So, Dr. Valenti, this is my final question before we wrap up for today. If someone is listening right now and they feel overwhelmed, what is the first step toward making it easier without escaping responsibility you would suggest to them?
All right. The first thing, what this is a simple. If they're feeling overwhelmed, I want them to go out into the woods and take a walk for an hour in the woods. No headphones. Don't be listening to anything else. Just observe nature. And if you can do that for an hour, look around, listen to the birds. Maybe you'll see a deer. Maybe you'll see a turkey. Maybe you'll see, there'll be a lot of just get out in nature. It'll help you to realize that nature survives everything, survives catastrophes, fires, earthquakes, no matter what, it survives. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, try to be one with nature and realize that you can survive too.
Wow. Thank you so much, Dr. Valenti. It's honestly been a pleasure to have you on the platform. You've dropped some level of wisdom that's probably it's so rare that there's a chance that for the next few months I may never get it somewhere else. And it's been a pleasure to have you. Dr. Valenti, where can my listeners, connect with you and possibly learn more about your work and possibly connect with you?
Okay, well, the first thing they could do is buy my book. You're making this way too hard. Find your easy way to enjoy life. It's right there. It's got a beautiful cover and it's a great book. It's
Yeah.
short, quick read, but it's got a lot of good stuff in there. They can go to www.angelovalenti.com. That's my website. They can find out about some of the stuff that I do. They can order my course. I have a nice course, Enjoy Life the Easy Way, which is not real expensive. I wanted to make it accessible to a large number of people,
Yes.
which is it's basically 8 coaching sessions with me for less than the cost of one coaching session. Uh,
Wow.
you can also book a discovery call if you'd like to learn how we might want to work together. But that's how angelovalenti.com. That's the portal that will take you
Thank you
wherever
so
you
much, Doctor. Thank you
want.
so much, Dr. Valenti. It's been a pleasure to have you on the platform. And please, for everyone listening, honestly, if you need advice, you need a way to get your life together, Dr. Valenti is the person for you. Make sure to, check his website. Make sure to call him, hit him up. He's here for you. He's here. He's going to help you, solve all your problems. Okay, maybe not solve all your problems, but he's going to help give you the tools you need to solve all your problems, essentially. Dr. Valenti, thank you so much for coming on my podcast, for enlightening I and my listeners. It's been a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much.
Pleasure's all mine. Thanks for having me. It was been fun.
Yeah, yeah. Do have a wonderful day and please take care of yourself.
I always do. You too.
Thank you. All right. Bye.
Bye.